Hello and welcome back. We are continuing our series on SQL and Python. And this episode, we are continuing looking at the complicated polling related data piece. Now, I apologize, I didn't turn on record. I was actually troubleshooting a few things, but luckily it's something I can catch us up pretty quick and straighten a few things out. So first thing is if you remember last time, we were working from our constraint names. So if we did here, so when we get our constraint name, oops, let me get this in here. Yeah, so like in this case, so when I'm looking up, because first thing we do is we find all the constraints related to a table. So it'd be something like this. So I'm going to get all my constraint names. And now with each constraint name, what I want to do is I'm going to go in for that constraint name. I'm going to say, hey, what is the referenced table? Because then what I need to do is I'm going to pull table from data from that table based on which IDs exist in my actual table. And one of the things that I missed was actually what we need to do is now we need to find all of the things that reference that table name. So that's going to be, well, in this case, let's say host. So I'm going to do, for now, what I'm going to do is this is going to be referenced table name. And if we call it host, hopefully it's going to be, yeah. So what we need to do is what we really need here is we're going to say, okay, all of these tables have data that references some record in here. So what we're going to do is where we were running through and doing our little union thing that we were building, which was all of the cases where, let's see if I've got that one sitting here real quick. Yeah, so it'd be stuff like this. So I do this, I get what's all the records where, I'm going to grab all the records where they are referred to, and then I'm going to have to union that. And we ended up doing something moderately complicated because we're going to have to do that for each of the tables. So if we go back to like our host, we're going to need to do this for each of these tables, which becomes a tad of a challenge because what we're going to have to do is for each one of those, and that's actually, we don't want it out of that. We want it out of our constraints, I think. Let's see. Yeah. So it's actually instead what we need is we need to find each of these where reference table name equals our table name. So a host in this case, because what we need to do, yeah. So each of these, we got to figure out what the table is referring to. So in this case, we're going to build like a series of selects. We weren't quite doing it right before. So first thing we do, and that's sort of where I got to, is so the first thing we're doing is we're going to grab our constraint. So this is the one where we get our based on our constraint name, which is here. And then what we want to do is we want to take the reference table name and we're going to build out this query here using the reference table name. And actually, we don't need to do it if that table's already been loaded. So what we're going to do is we're going to come here, source SQL, blah, 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 blah. We're going to grab our, okay. So here we grab our table in our schema, which is right here. I pointed, that doesn't help since you're not seeing that. So it's our table here. And we're going to say if, and this is a table, source table, not in imported tables, then we're going to have to do some loading on it. And if it is, then we can just skip it. So if it is, I'm sorry, if it's not, this is where we're going to come in and do this query based on the reference table name. And so if we look here, let's just do it like that. So if you see here, this is this select reference table name, constraint schema, constraint name, table name, constraint schema. Let's just do that whole thing. I think that's what I want. I think I just go with those guys. And so I'm going to do those from referential constraints. And then it's going to be where reference table name equals the source table. And then I'm going to set that guy up. I'm going to execute, and I'm going to do fetch all. So this is going to give me this one, right? Yeah, so this is going to give me this one, which is not the one I want, is it? This is the one I want. Oh, apologies. I just blew up my... Okay, let's fix that. That's probably the one I had before. Shouldn't have done that, but that's okay. So let's go back. So we're going to take our select. So select that. Oops, from here. Oh. Where reference table name equals. Okay. So that gets us this list down here. And so this is where we're going to start building our rather complicated stuff. And here, so let's say, so the first one we're going to do is going to be very similar. So we've got for source row and source rows. Is that what we want? Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. So we're going to take this now, move that over, because now what we want to do is we're going to go through our source rows, which is there. And for each one of those, we don't need to worry about it being in imported tables, because we've already checked for it up here. And then in each of these, we're going to take, select from the constraint schema, which is 0, dot table, where source row 2, the reference column name, is in, select distinct column name from the schema, constraint schema, and then the table name. So if we do that, and we're going to do the same thing here. And so what we should see is, let's do this. Let's see how this looks. And we're going to print it. Hopefully we'll be able to see a good example here. Let's see what it's going to run for us. And let's see. So it's going to come in and it's going to do that. And it's not really giving me too much here because, oh, so if it's not in the imported tables, then I need to import it. Otherwise, the data is good, so I can move on. Oh, and this is the problem, is this whole thing. So I have to insert that data. So where am I at here? So I'm doing the referential loads. That means I'm going to go through all of these guys, which means I can probably just take all of that and move it down one. Oops. Yeah, if he's not in, then I'm going to have to describe him. I'm going to have to do my inserts. And I'm going to build this big honking thing, which looks like this. I think that's how it's going to look. Let's see how this runs through. And let's see, I should see one here at some point, maybe not. So if he's not in, imported tables. Then he does a referential load. If he is, then I'm going to go through here. I'm going to get all of my parents. Maybe missing one here. Let's see, what did I do? So check if it's referenced in a foreign key. Oh, this may be what, maybe I double dipped on this. So that is this one. All right, maybe that one. From referential constraints. So it's here. So I'm going to see if it exists. If it does, okay, that's my keys. I don't really need that check SQL. So I'm going to execute that, blah, 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 blah. I don't think I need you. So, all right, let's just walk through this thing real quick. So grab my rows. If I get a row back, then what I'm going to do is for each of those rows, I'm going to walk back. I'm going to look at the parent, which is here. So if he's already covered, if he's not in imported tables, then I'm going to take him up a level. And actually, let's see. What I can probably do is take this and not worry about that else. Because what happens is if he is not, oh. So if he's not, then what I want to do, oh, okay, then I want to do is I want to take him. Okay, oh, that's, wait. Then I'm going to call him for the parents, okay. And that's for each of the parents. Okay, so I may be all right. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to get the columns. Let's see if, for example, did I get all of my data come through? It did not. Okay. So that's what I thought. So I'm going to come in. If I find them, then I'm going to see is the, oh, those are those constraints. So if all those constraints are loaded, then I'm good. Otherwise, which means if all of those constraints are loaded, then I need to check to see, I need to load the parents. Let's see, otherwise, and if I do, it's where I'm off some. So if parents are loaded, then I got to load this guy, which is I think like that. No, let's do one more. Okay, let's try that. Okay, so load all his parents. Now that his parents are done, now I got to go figure out what I need to load for him. So now I'm going to go in and find anywhere that he exists. Which actually I don't even need to do that because I already know what he is, right? So now I need to go find for that table. And then I'm going to get my, so I'm going to make sure all of those guys are done. So if he's not there, oh, actually I don't have to worry about that anymore. Because what I need to do is check all the places where this table exists. And I've already checked about him not being in there, so I may be able to simplify this up quite a bit. Apologies while I'm thinking on my feet here. So I'm going to go to all its parents, which is here. So I'm going to go through all those parents. I'm going to say, are they loaded? Once they're loaded, now I can do the contract. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, like in this case, I'm going to say everywhere that he's in there, so he's referenced in contract document. So now I just need to go to him, which is, let's see, is this the right one? So this is the one where referential constraints, which is this one. Okay. So I'm going to go through that. And then I'm going to say, all right, for each of those, I don't need this. Actually, I guess I can do it from here. So I can just go straight to, I want to go straight to the call, which is key column usage. Where's key column usage? I had that in here somewhere. Key column usage. So if I go to that to contract, or yeah, let's say contract for this example, and then I just need to build it. So I can actually shrink that thing out. And that's everywhere that this is equal to table. Oh, which means I probably don't even need that check SQL. So let's do this. That may be okay. So now I'm going to get those. I'm going to get my source rows. Do my smart load, source rows, blah, 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 blah. So let's do that. And I don't have a source 2 now. So I can close that. I don't have to worry about closing him out. So now let's look at it. So I should see it quit right there. So I'm going to do that. So this is that contract one. So I'm actually right on track for this. Oh, and now I'm back to sort of where I was, because what it's going to do is build this. It only exists once. Okay. Oh, contract document doesn't have any records. Oh, so I don't even need a contract. There you go. Okay. So for example, let's see, look up states. So I wonder if that means that there's nobody that uses lookup states. Okay. And he's going to do that. He's going to do that for item and results. He's going to build that for row and destination rows, which is probably going to be none. So now if we look at our smart load SQL, it's going to be probably nothing. Source schema is in 509, so we probably missed one. Oh, source schema is let's just do, we can do that. We can go, where did we call that? src schema equals source rows 0, 0. Well, let's do this. We do that. Otherwise, if we have data for that, then source schema equals source row 0. And then where do I do that? Now I say if, let's do this, if source schema not equal to that, then I'm actually going to go do some stuff. Then I have some stuff to insert. And so I've got a couple of things. So source table is just going to be table. Oh no. Or is it? So reference table name. Yeah, so that's just table. I don't really need it. Source table is somewhere else I used it. There we go. It's just table. And that means I'm done. So I get to append it and say that, yes, it's loaded. And so if his source schema is not equal to that, then I do something. Otherwise, what I can do is else. Did I give it a column number? Nope. Let's do this. Comma max rows. And then he's gonna do load table data, which is going to be table, comma, max rows. So when I do referential load, he also gets, oops, so who calls referential load? When he gets called here, he gets called from, okay, smart empty, max rows. So I think, is that the only place he gets called? Yes, it is. So now, we're going to see this come through. So that's our contract. So we can go pick on this. And we're getting a little long, so we're probably going to wrap this one up. But let's go look real quick here. Okay, so he does the smart load. He's good. And then here, well, let's go ahead and run it through. Let's see what happens. I don't know if I've got any quits left. We'll find out in a second. Okay, so we are blowing up here. And so it looks like it's doing it because it already exists. So it's double entering on the member table. So we're going to go look. There's somewhere we're probably not, we're loading and we're probably not loading it into, probably not marking that it has been properly loaded. It's not in the, which is probably right here, because I think we need imported tables equals. So I think if we do load table data, let's see. So, maybe not. Load table data does not return. Okay, so that's sync rows, which means, just load table data. He doesn't add it to sync rows because it's not there, or sync tables. Oh, that's sync. We need smart sync. So load table data is, let's go back there. Load table data. Oops. Load table data, load table data. There we go. So here, we actually need this to be, we don't need that here, but what we do need is to go to imported tables and add, which we probably already have that somewhere. I am not seeing it. Oh, here we go. So in this case, he closes it up. In this case, he does that. Okay. And then returns it. So we should be in good shape. Let's see. Let's see. We'll give it one more try here. Let's see if it comes through or if it blows up again. And it does. So we're going to go check that out next time around. I think we've gone long enough this time. And we will continue chasing this down because it is getting a little complicated. And we'll just continue to walk through it and see where it's blowing up, see where we have missed double entering a record, and we'll just move forward from there. Hopefully we're getting pretty close, and we'll be able to see this thing wrap up in the next episode or two. That being said, go out there and have yourself a great day, a great week, and we will talk to you next time.